is the way we buy.
Alright, so as you can see, my desktop case does not have a back panel to access the motherboard. Yay. So that means I need to take out my motherboard and put the new back bracket on to fit my heatsink. Yay. Forgot about that not having a whole access panel on the back panel. Oh. Anyway, so since the heatsink is already off, it reduces a lot of the weight on top of the motherboard anyway, so shouldn't be that hard. I just need to come back over here and grab my motherboard box that has the anti-static wrap in it that I'm going to use to put my motherboard on so it doesn't get static. You know, static and motherboards don't always go the best together. Alright, so this right here is the heatsink that needs to go on that desktop. That desktop does not have a backplate panel access, so I need to take out my motherboard to put the bracket of the heatsink on the other side. Not so bad. I can do that in about 5 minutes. And while I'm doing that, I'm also going to be installing, whoops, upside down. I'm also going to be installing my graphics card. This is a 2 GB graphics card, GDDR5. It's a AMD recommended graphics card. It's Radeon HD 6970. If you guys want to look up the specs for it, it's not bad. Pretty good for your price too. If you're looking for like more performance, but you're on a slight budget, but you have a little bit more money to like throw at it, then not a bad card to pick up. So I'm just gonna go ahead and open this too. It comes in a little brown box. It's gotta pull up the little lever right there, and then that's that. Comes in a anti-static bag. It's not bad, fancy. So here's the bag it comes in. It's a fancy bag. And here's the graphics card itself. It's not bad. I'm gonna go ahead and install that after I get the motherboard out and put the bracket on. I just kinda wanted to look at it. It's got HDMI display, DVI and display. And it also has this little side vent. Homo, whoa, whoa, whoa. Don't drop it. Mini heart attack. Jesus. Holy shit. If you want to have like a miniature heart attack, try to drop your graphics card. Don't drop your graphics card. Please don't. I know what that was, what that almost felt like. And I don't want you guys to go through it. Not good feeling by any means necessary. Alright. kind of having like a whole head rush because of that now. Like I said, good way to like have a miniature heart attack and wake yourself up, I guess. Would not have been happy if I dropped that. Would not have been happy. Alright. So, a good thing to do before touching your motherboard is that anti-static bag that comes with any computer hardware that requires it not to be staticky to break, has an anti-static bag. So what you gotta do is just rub it between your hands and it'll take off all the static in your hands and your arms, that kind of stuff, so you can't transmit it onto the board. Or you can wear an anti-static band. I don't have one, but they're nice to have. You don't really have to worry about static electricity as much in Hawaii because it's moist oxygen over here. So if you're in a place in like the mainland, like say I don't know, Las Vegas. Las Vegas is like a desert kind of area, so they have like drier oxygen and more static going around in the air. So that's when you need an anti-static band, or you're gonna mess up your computer. So for me, I am now looking for my screwdriver. Where's my screwdriver? Oh, there it is. Hiding. There it is. Screwdriver. So I'm just gonna start off by taking out the motherboard screws. Be very careful. Try not to get all sweaty palmed and slip with your screwdriver and like have your screwdriver fall into your motherboard. I've had that happen to me before. This computer still worked after, but was not happy about that one either. And you want to make sure to keep all your screws together because you don't want to lose any of your screws. If you lose your screws, then hopefully you have a backup pile like I do. And if you don't, well, that sucks. Straight up. You have to go out and buy some more screws and wait for them to come to you, or you can like order them online, or you can go out and pick them up. I don't know. Whatever you do. Just, yeah, try not to lose your screws. Alright, so I still have all my cables connected, but that's why I moved my box right here. So it has like the anti-static wrap on the inside to make sure that the motherboard can sit in there. And you don't have to worry about like anything happening to it. If you want to keep your cables connected, you gotta be very careful while lifting it and moving it around. So this is F audio. I can plug that for right now. Alright, so anyway, cardboard is not staticky. Don't have to worry about cardboard. Just make sure you don't set it on anything like plastic or metal, that kind of stuff. You set it on paper, you set it on cardboard, you set it on anti-static wrap, you're good. As for places in the mainland, cardboard and paper might still not be the best idea, because I don't know, there's no static moving through it, but I don't know, things can happen and shit can go bad. Hopefully stuff doesn't go bad. I'm hoping for things to go good. So I gotta take off the bracket that holds my old CPU heatsink, because with the Neptune Twin Tower heatsink, it requires a bracket in the back. So it has its own custom mounts too, so you don't need these ones anymore. Would not suggest throwing them out in case you ever decide to go back for some reason. You can always revert back, that kind of thing. Okay, so now that that's out, we have to touch the anti-static paper first. Pick up the motherboard slightly, and the bracket just fell off from underneath. So what we're gonna do is take this bracket out. Here's the old one. And now we're going to, oh, that was weird. This old bag was like stapled, and I like kind of just went to go take the staples off, and it kind of just ripped. So careful opening this over stuff. You don't want like pieces to fly everywhere, I guess. I was expecting plaster to be a bit sturdier than that. Alright. What I'm doing over here is basically setting up the back bracket so I can just slide it into place and get everything working properly. Get this motherboard back in. Alright, so I'm gonna switch back over here. Alright, so this is the stock bracket that's in the back of a Gigabyte AMD motherboard. Alright, so this is the bracket that comes with the Neptune Twin Tower heatsink. So what you gotta do is you got to take these little push pins. Another thing I found really weird, that the brackets come in the bag that say LG or Intel for the LGA bracket, but why didn't it say AMD with it? I don't know, just something to put out there if you guys are like wondering why it's like that. I don't know either. But what you gotta do is for the AMD, you gotta put them in the smaller ones. This is Intel, this is AMD. So you gotta put it in the smaller ones, and then you take these little grips it comes with, and then you basically just slide it on over that. And it'll cover that little silver piece on the back, and you'll have like your own little leg. So you gotta do that to all four of them, and then you can go back to the motherboard. Alright, so that's the completed piece of it. Just like that. All four of the little grips on it. And the grips just hold it in place so it doesn't fall out. Alright, so we're going to go back over to the motherboard, and then we're going to install this bracket, and then install the heatsink. And I'll check back with that. Alright, so back over here at the motherboard, we're going to be installing this piece over here. Let's see if I can give you guys perfect. Okay, so here's the CPU. I'm going to go underneath the motherboard and basically lift it up and put the bracket on. Make sure that the you see how it's kind of discolorated right there, and it's like a flat color on the back. Make sure to put this side up, not the opposite way around. There we go. So you see how it's just kind of sticking through right here now. Alright, so with these legs right here, we're just now going to put our brackets on top, and then these pieces are going to go above the bracket to hold them down onto this piece. And then basically we're gonna start with the little black round things and put them on top of the peg legs like that. I'll make sure to hold it up from underneath. Like that. And then with these little circular Phillips head screw-ons, you're just gonna put the bracket on first. This bracket. Make sure that the screw hole is facing inwards, because that's what the heatsink screws into. So you just don't want to tighten it all the way down yet. You want to get just all four of them like hand threaded on there. Not super tight, just tight enough to hold it. And then once you have all four of them on, you're gonna cross pattern tighten it so that it gets even pressure and it holds the heatsink and the CPU in place correctly. Because if you have your heatsink raised off on one side, bad day. Yeah. So these things don't go all the way through. They're like threaded all the way through, so you can see the screw.